welcome back to the Dork Mothers. So today we're going to talk about upcoming movie releases that you may or may not have heard of. Some of them have released trailers, so let's get into it. So Bloodshot, which is coming out based on a comic book starring Vin Diesel. It's about a soldier who gets essentially blown up and gets reanimated with nanobots, and then becomes this super indestructible guy. Okay, so it's also got Sam Heughan from Outlander. It's got, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but Aiza Gonzalez. She's been in a bunch of stuff like Baby Driver and stuff like that. She's another one of the super soldier type reanimated people from what I can tell. So is Sam Heughan. Guy Pearce is in there. Toby Cabell is in there, which I'm a little surprised Toby Cabell would participate in another comic book movie since Fantastic Four went, but we'll see. And then the director has done a lot of visual effects for like video games and stuff. So, and then he did some visual effects for Avengers Age of Ultron. So we'll see how that works out, see if it's more video game-esque. Like I said, it's based off comic books, but I mean, video game movies have been notorious for not doing well at the box office, so I guess we'll see. I know I'm excited about it, as much as it probably gets me made fun of. I'm a big Vin Diesel fan. I really think, he's got that machismo action hero kind of thing or whatever, so make fun of me all you want, but I love me some Vin Diesel. So next up is The Lovebirds with, and I want to say horrible for pronouncing names, but Issa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani. I love Kumail. I haven't seen a whole lot with Issa Rae in it, but she looks funny. But it's about a couple who are essentially on a date and they witness a murder and they get framed for the murder and they have to go on the run and figure out how they're going to get, unframed, essentially. But just the trailer itself looks hilarious. And like I said, they seem like such an odd couple, because I mean, she seems funny but more serious like in the movie. And then Kumail, all his characters are generally like very comedic and have like good, comedic timing. So we'll see, if they have the good chemistry on screen. From the trailer, it looks hilarious. And then the director also did The Big Sick, which is Kumail's other movie, Michael Showalter, which he's done like a bunch of TV stuff as well as an actor, like Wet Hot American Summer, which was kind of a big deal like 10 years ago, and then they did like a reboot, which was a prequel, but they're all older, and it's like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it looks super hilarious. So y'all could have probably guessed the next one on my list, since I told in my previous video that I'm DC Ride or Die, and that would be Wonder Woman 1984. Okay, so not a lot is known about the plot. I know they're trying to keep it under wraps, but it's pretty well understood and known if you look into the movies at all that she's going versus Cheetah, which, I mean, comic book wise is a big, adversary of hers, her arch nemesis, so to speak. And it's going to be played by Kristen Wiig, which, I mean, I love her, and I've watched a lot of serious stuff that she's done where there was one movie she got literally all the way naked, and like, I mean, she can be a serious actress, but like, I don't know, it would be hard for me to see her as evil, I guess. Like, obviously, anytime there's a comic book villain, comic book movie, the villain is supposed to be this person you can't root for, whatever, to keep who's good, who's bad separated. And, like, the way she, like, her personality and the way she acts in the movies, it's very hard not to like her. I mean, even when she was in Bridesmaids and she was, like, losing her shit, you were still like, oh, Kristen Wiig. So we'll see. And then obviously, spoiler, Steve didn't die. He's in the trailers, or it's his reincarnation or his clone or whatever. We're not entirely on the up and up on knowing about that yet, but Chris Pine's back. Yeah, I'm down for that. I know people are like, oh, we'll give Diana someone else to be into or whatever. And she doesn't need a love interest. I mean, she's freaking Wonder Woman. She can do whatever the hell she wants. Date a woman. Date whatever. Not date at all, But, I mean, they built up in the first one, and then he died, and you're like, really? So we'll see if they can go past that. They Patty Jenkins is back directing, and obviously she killed it on the first one. And, you know, women directors making, you know, women-centric hero movies is always muy bueno. But I will say this, you know, it's not like she hasn't proved herself before. You know, like, you know, out here, like, needing to make a name for herself. Obviously, she killed it with Wonder Woman, but back in '03, she made Monster with Charlize Theron, you know, and maybe she didn't win the awards or whatever, and Charlize won the awards, but, like, that was her movie, okay? So, you know, Patty Jenkins is out here killing it. They cast Pedro Pascal. I've done some videos about him before. Love me some Pedro Pascal. And he is, I mean, the character he's playing, which is Max Lord, which is like, it's hard. He's had so many different comic book iterations and so many different backstories and retcon of this and that or whatever. At one point, he's a meta. At another point, he's not a meta. Another point that he's a self-loathing meta where he doesn't like metas, and in another one he's not a meta and doesn't like metas, and there's this whole thing with, because when he is a meta, he has mind control abilities, so he convinces Superman to hurt people, and then the only way that it can get fixed is Wonder Woman literally has to kill him. And so it's like, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out and which backstory they give him. Because if you know any indication, what I talked about before with the Birds of Prey video, is that, you know, these DC movies don't necessarily go with comic book origin stories that these characters have set up previously. So, okay, so the next one, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, raised in the 90s, coming of adulthood in the 2000s, so the Ghostbusters as a kid to me was like, yes, you know, had comedy, had action, had, you know, a little bit of romance sprinkled, Salt Bae style, sprinkled on top, and then, you know, had spookiness, but not enough spookiness that would make my tiny little child self pee itself. So, I mean, I'm all about that Ghostbusters life. Now, it's sad Harold Ramis has since passed away, but it seems to be like they're paying homage to him, that the kids in the movie are his grandkids, and they inherit his house, and therefore all his gear. Ecto-1, Finn Wolfhard, and McKenna Grace are his, like I said, I'm assuming what I can gain from the trailer is that they're his grandkids. They inherit the house, and Finn Wolfhard finds Ecto-1. The little girl looks just like, I mean, if you could picture Spengler as a little tiny girl, there you go. And especially if you watch the real Ghostbusters cartoon, she's like the dark-haired embodiment of Spengler from the cartoon, so it's like they went right on the nose. And then Ivan Reitman was the original director of the original two movies. His son is directing this. So you'd think if anybody was going to do it right and not do it dirty, it would be the son of the guy who made the originals. You know, like, don't get me wrong, the Ghostbusters of 2016 with the women was funny, but I'm a purist, and they were not my Ghostbusters. So if they would have done a whole different thing and called themselves something else or whatever, I wasn't behind it. Now, you're throwing in, like I said, you got Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, and then you got Paul Rudd, looking adorbs as ever, being the teacher, much like myself, knowing what the stuff really is like. Oh, you got a replica, whatever, you know. So watch the trailer, you'll know what I'm talking about. But then you see on the cast list that the original surviving cast members are on there. So I mean, it should be. My heart, I'm excited. And then they show some ghost activity, so the kids gotta fight some ghosts and get out the proton packs and do all that stuff. So I've got my hopes high. They're up here. So we'll see. So my final one on the list, and I made my list short, compact, because I could go on and on and on about different things, but this was my top 5 in no particular order. Number 5, The Kingsman. Now, I'm Kingsman. Oh my god, I love me some Eggsy. I love me, you know, the whole deal. I mean, the first two, absolutely love. This one, obviously, you can show when you look at the trailer, it's older, so it's a prequel. It's got Ray Fiennes, you know, Lord Voldemort. And the kid is Harris Dickinson, which is, I mean, he's a relative newcomer. I mean, he's only got like 12 credits on his IMDb page. But he was in The Darkest Minds, which is a young adult book series they turned into a movie, which I doubt we'll get another one, but I enjoyed it. But he was the main boy, opposite Amanda Sternberg, who was as Rue in Hunger Games. So, you know, sorry, I got different layers going on there. But anyways, it was I liked it. But that was the only thing I actually had to look him up because I didn't recognize his face. I'm like, oh, it's the kid from Darkest Minds. Gotcha. And then he was actually in Maleficent 2, which just came out this last year. But I don't do that movie. No, thank you. And it's got Gemma Arterton. And then it's got Rhys Ifans as Rasputin, who, from all intents and purposes I can gain, he is the villain. And it looks World War II-ish. Maybe World War One. I couldn't get a distinct timeline knocked out from the trailer, but Matthew Vaughn, the director of the first two, back for this one. I absolutely love him, and I'm just really excited. I'm hoping that some of the kooky stuff they did in this second one, they don't quite go with in this one. Like, take it back to the roots of the original, you know. Get this kid to be like our new Eggsy, a more refined, since he's from an older time, a more refined Eggsy. And it's nice to see Ray Fiennes in a role where he's not all funny looking for whatever reason, you know. Like in the Clash of the Titans series, he was Hades, so he was all bleh. And then you had him in, obviously, as Lord Voldemort, where he didn't have a nose. So, you know, it's nice to see him. So this has been my list of upcoming movies that I'm stoked to see. Obviously, like I said, I could do a longer list. I'd say just beyond this timeline that I stopped, gave myself a cutoff point, was Venom 2, which, I love me some Tom Hardy all day. All day. People say what they want about Venom, and it's not as good as Spider-Man, whatever. Tom Holland, you're adorbs, but you ain't no Tom Hardy. Okay? Tom Hardy all day. And then you got Woody Harrelson being the bad guy, so I'll probably make another one once the timeline gets a little farther along and I can extend into the next year, because there's another live-action Mortal Kombat movie coming, and I'm excited about that. Mortal Kombat from my childhood was crazy. But sorry, I'm wandering, and like I said, I'm excited to see. Comment if you have any that you're looking forward to. You know, start a discussion. Let's get it rolling. Give me some topics if you want to talk about them. I'll ramble all day long. Thanks for visiting the Dork Mother. Please be sure to click the big red subscribe button down below, and I hope to see you in the future.